Welcome to the Pregnancy Loss Podcast, the place I created for moms like us. Pregnancy loss is all-encompassing and creates an overarching theme that runs through our lives forever. We have to learn to live with and beside the grief of losing our baby. We have to learn how to live again, how to parent again, how to engage and interact and be social again, how to communicate effectively to connect with our spouses and significant others. We have to find who we are now. I'm here to empower and inspire you to live a life even with our unique circumstances. We cannot change what happened, but we can grow and use that strength and resilience to create a life that we love. I'm here to share everything I know about grief, motherhood, loss, marriage, friendship, and parenting. I'm here to encourage you to find the beautiful side of grief, the side where we don't have to isolate ourselves or suppress the need to share stories, the side where you have moms just like you to support and encourage you. The side where we become the best versions of ourselves, not in spite of our loss, but thanks to it. Pregnancy loss is devastating, but it can also be an opportunity to reflect on who we were and who we want to become. So join me every Tuesday for a new episode on the Pregnancy Loss Podcast. Let's jump in. Hey, Mama. So happy you are here this week. I think I just put out the episode. I have 11 days until my 1-year anniversary of this podcast. I started it last year on October 22nd, and I'm super excited. So we're going to start season 2. This will be the last episode that will air before the 22nd. Let me check real quick. The 22nd falls on a Sunday, so the first, we won't have... Actually, we will. This will be on the 17th, and then the 24th will be the new season 2. I don't know if I'm going to do a theme or anything, but I think just starting year 2 as season 2 is awesome. Anyways, enough about that. I was going through my content list because I was really just trying to find something that felt like I felt pulled to talk about. And something that I wrote a while ago is, what is next? Immediately after losing a baby, you don't really think about what's next. You are sitting in your grief, you're mourning, you are depressed, you are in denial, you're in shock, you're bargaining, for your baby to come back. And there is no next yet. And the only next that I remember thinking after I lost Evelyn was I want another baby. That I knew right away. That was something that was not going to pass me by. I just knew. I knew I was meant to be a mom of a big family. And I didn't really think that until after I lost Evelyn, when I had realized how important the family that you create is. And that in the broader terms of life, your family is really the only thing that matters. And yes, making money and having a career or having great friendships and traveling and all these things, they are supposed to support, right? They're supposed to give you things to look forward to. They're supposed to enrich your life, enrich your family's life. But everything always comes back to your children and your spouse, right? I mean, if you're a single mom, you and your kids. You don't need a spouse to be happy. And once I had that realization, because I didn't before, I always felt something was missing. I always felt I wasn't living up to my potential. I felt like I was never happy with what I had. I always wanted more. And I'm still there because we are human beings who are either you're content and you stay where you are, or you grow. We're meant to grow. And that's that part of always wanting more. It's not necessarily that you're ungrateful for what you have, but you're meant for something else. but that something else is not ready to come to fruition yet. And that's just my thinking, okay? That's my neurodivergent brain, and how I see the world. And honestly, how I viewed the world has always been so different from other people. And I couldn't understand how they didn't see it like I did. And I'm going on a tangent and I'm off task here. But this is all part of it. So what's next? When is it time to start thinking about what's next? When do you start making these decisions? When is it okay? When is it not okay? Like, is it a week, 2 weeks, a month, a year? Oh, hiccups. How are you supposed to know? There's a lot of guilt after you lose a baby when you even think about moving on. Because in what we've been made to believe is like moving on is forgetting about what happened or forgetting about our babies. And that's just not the case. That is so oversimplifying such a complex thing that's happening inside of us. But if we don't start moving forward, what happens? What happens to us? We are stagnant. We're stuck. We're unhappy. There's despair and sadness, and it's okay to feel those things, but I don't think it's okay to stay there. And it's very hard. And this is not an episode, like if you are new in your grief, I am not telling you you can't have the time to feel those things. That's not at all what I'm saying. You need to look at this from where I'm at. And I'm at 4 years. My loss happened 4 years ago. And so if it's new to you, this is not even something you need to, think about right now. But it's okay to have dreams of being okay one day. You don't need to feel guilt for wanting another baby or wanting or not wanting another baby. That's a big one, guys. That's not something I experienced, but it's something that I've seen others experience. And especially in a marriage, when one partner, like that one person wants a baby and the other doesn't. When our loss happened and my husband came home from his deployment, some of the first words he said to me was, "We're never having another baby." And I was just like, there was another thing I'm in shock about. Like, what are you talking about? I know I'm going to have another baby. Like, this is not negotiable. So this is an instant problem in our marriage. And he couldn't explain it at the time. And I wasn't one to listen at that moment. But what he meant was that he couldn't stand to see me lose another baby. And he couldn't live if I died giving birth for some reason. I wasn't seeing it from his perspective, though, because all I knew is that I had this postpartum body and no baby, and all I wanted was a baby. So those are difficult things to consider after you lose a baby. But here's the thing. What's next is so exciting. And if you let it, okay? And it doesn't have to be, for me, I knew I wanted to help others. So that is how I channeled my pain and my sadness and my anger and my rage. I used it to help others by creating this podcast, by creating the pregnancy loss education course where I teach doulas and postpartum doulas how to support these families after loss, by creating all these products for lost moms, like my affirmations and my free resources, and just being available all the time. Like, I am always on call. Like, anybody can call me at any time if they need support. And I do that because I know how it feels not to have somebody know what I'm going through to talk to. I didn't know one person who had a stillborn when I had Evelyn. Not one. So who was I supposed to talk to? And I mean, I had a peer support companion from Star Legacy met with me. I think her name was Jan. She was the sweetest woman. She just made me feel seen, and she was so lovely. But besides that, I knew women who had miscarriages, and but nobody that I knew had a stillbirth. Until I got a phone call from my grandmother, my sweet grandma Irene, who told me that she had a stillbirth over 40, 50 years ago. And still to this day, she thought about her. She always wondered what she looked like. In those times, guys, so the 60s and 70s, these babies were taken away right away. These moms were not allowed to hold these babies, see these babies. It was very hushed. It was full of shame. And my grandma, I was one of the only people she ever told. And I'm so sad she's not here anymore, because I wish I could have talked to her about it more when I wasn't grieving myself. She died before I could really have that in-depth conversation and just learn about her and her story and things like that. But some people aren't able to move forward. Some of us just can't get over. Take my words loosely. I don't mean get over it. We can't get over it. You're never going to get over it. But as it gets lighter, you should be able to slowly travel forward. And so how do we look forward? What's next? You start doing it little by little with these little moments. You'll have moments when you're grieving or you're crying or you're meditating or you're playing with your kids or you're with your friend or you're watching a movie with your husband. And you'll have these, I've seen this word glimmer, and it's like a glimmer of hope. It's these little, I want to say, mini dreams or little glimmers of hope and joy and dreams that you see the light, you see the sun, you see beyond this fog of grief. And as the days go on, you see a little more and a little more, and you start smiling. And you know, the one time you're with your best friend and they say something outrageous and you do your ugly, laughing, snorting, hyperventilating, hysterical laugh, and you realize you're still alive. You can still feel enormous joy and laughter. It's just, it'll hit you when you don't even when something might not be so funny to someone else, it'll catch you off guard. And in those moments, you guys, I need you to be like, there is something beyond this. I can feel joy and hope and laughter again. I can experience these little moments, but you need to feel them. Be present in the moment. And as soon as it's over, you're going to be like, wow, Wow. That hasn't happened in a long time. My best friend Jeannie flew out. It was a week or two after Evelyn died. I think it was like after the first week. Um, Me and Jeannie, sometimes we just have these laughing fits where we just can't stop. We're so together. We are just ridiculous. And those were some of my first glimmers. We went to get our nails done. We got matching tattoos, our second matching tattoo. Our first set was when we were, oh my God, 11th grade, 12th grade. We were 17 or 18. And we got our matching back tattoos. And now we have our matching arm tattoos in honor of Evelyn. And it says, always keep the faith. And the ironic part is that we were at the nail salon before, and my tattoo lady had this tattooed on her arm. And I started crying because I just was like, that's it. I need that. That is what I need to remind myself. So thank you to my nail lady for giving me that little glimmer. It was just meant, I was meant to see that. And I've seen her so many times before, but I've never seen this tattoo. And she works with her hands. So I see her arms, I see her hands, but I just never connected it. And in the beginning, it'll be really hard to be in these situations where you feel joy. You won't want to feel that way because you feel like you're doing a disservice or you're being a terrible mom to your baby. But it's not true. It will take time, but it's there and you can get there. I want you to, oh my God, do a vision board. Even just on Pinterest, just start saving pictures of the life that you want to have. Start thinking about, if you want to, how you can help others. How you can honor your baby, how you can honor yourself in this journey of being a lost mom or dad. How can you honor your family? How can you celebrate them every year so that they're remembered? These are all of the things that will help you determine what is next. I had an idea, but I didn't know how I was going to get there. I didn't know the how. I didn't know the what. I just knew the why. I knew I wanted to do it for Evelyn, for me, and for all the other moms that need the support. And I know that can also be a cliche thing. Find your why. It's not always as simple as that. Sometimes you won't even know why. Sometimes your why is just like, I need to help somebody. How do I do it? How can you do something today that could help somebody? And sometimes, I'm somebody who gets an idea in my head and I have to do it right then. Or if I see something that we need to buy for the house, I need to buy it right then. Not great on our checking account, but I know it's right and I have to do it right then. And if you're that type of person, you know what I mean. And I don't know, you'll read something, you'll meet somebody, you'll see a flyer, you'll hear a podcast or something on the radio, and you'll be like, yes, that feels right. That sounds right. I want to do that. There's so many things and people and groups and nonprofits and businesses that you can connect with. I became a postpartum doula because of the postpartum depression and the postpartum rage that I developed after having Violet, and not knowing that that was a thing, not knowing that that is sometimes what happens after you have a baby. Nobody told me. And I suffered alone for months before I went to therapy, 2 or 3 months before I started therapy. And she's like, yes, you definitely have postpartum depression and postpartum rage. And I was like, I need to be helping other moms realize that what they're experiencing after birth sometimes it's not normal. And they need help, but they don't know it. I need to be there. And so I reached out to DONA, which is one of the largest certifying bodies for doulas. And they told me, oh, yeah, that's a postpartum doula. I'm like, great, there's already a job. I want it. I want to do this. So when I was pregnant with Evelyn, I took my training and I had planned to start working after she was here. And she died. And I literally, September, October, 4 months later, I started working with my first family. And then from there, I knew I wanted to help in the pregnancy loss part. And now, as scary as it is, I am transitioning out of postpartum work into, I guess it'll still be sort of postpartum work with the lost families, but going full time into my pregnancy loss education business, going full time into the podcast, going full time into planning workshops, going full time into facilitating a pregnancy loss support group community. Like, these are all things that I'm just starting now. And it seems like a lot, but it feels so right now that I'm gaining the clarity that I needed. And you guys, it doesn't just happen. You have to be willing and open for these things to come to you. And that includes like self-development books, business books. If you want to, if you don't want to own a business, that's not what I'm telling you to do at all. There's businesses that exist already that you can help with. But I love working for myself. But personal development books, personal development podcasts. Like right now I'm listening to Bob Proctor, and he's dead and gone now, but he was a brilliant man, and he is just expanding my brain and my intelligence and my knowledge base. And I'm moving along so fast now. I can't keep up. But journaling and practicing gratitude, even when it's really hard. I have this, it's called Good Days Start with Gratitude Journal. Okay. And I started doing this after Evelyn died. I got this, and let me just share. So I started it even before Evelyn died. So I'll start June 15th, 2019. I am thankful for my ability to make and carry baby, my ability to pay off debt, my fans, and my air conditioning, because it was a hot summer in Washington. And then after Evelyn had died, oh my God, so this is July 1st, 2019. So this is 19 days before Evelyn is born. I'm thankful for a beautiful world to live in. I'm thankful for having therapists. I'm thankful for strength to handle my mother in a way that's healthy for me, which meant cutting her out. And then this is August 28th, 2019. So the day before Violet's birthday and about a month after Evelyn was born. But all I could muster is I'm thankful for my daughters, my life, and my husband. It's okay if it's just one word, one thing. I'm thankful for tea. I'm thankful for Pepsi. I'm thankful for this pink nail polish. Like, there will be some days where you just don't think you can muster anything you're grateful for. And I promise you, there is at least one thing. After, this is a year later on May 2nd, 2020. So nice month or two into the pandemic, and we're struggling. But I'm thankful for my girls' laughter because it's contagious. I'm thankful for days to work on my marriage. I'm thankful for my comfortable life and my baby boy because I was pregnant with them at the time. And we tend to make things really hard, or we overthink it to the point that we don't start because We've overthought it to the point of it being so hard we don't know what to do next. But your next is coming. And if you're new to your grief, these little glimmers will come to you. And then I want you to start noticing them. But it's okay to grieve. And it's okay if you're 4 years into it and you have the worst day and you're sobbing like it just happened. I have those days still. And on those days, I don't feel hope. I don't feel joy. But that is also normal. Because guess what happens the next day? My body was able to process. I cried out all my feelings and emotions. I externally processed in a physical way. And the next day I feel a little better. And I do feel hope and I do feel joy. And it is okay to feel more than one emotion at a time, even though it's confusing and conflicting. Our whole human experience is a confliction. Everything is conflicting all the time. It's not fair. But everything is going to be okay. I promise. It really is. And when in doubt, play your favorite fucking music. Just play your favorite fucking music and dance. Oh my God, your kids will love it. We always had dance parties. We haven't done it in a while. But, I mean, if you have other kids, do it. They're going to be like, oh my God, what's going on with Mom? What are you doing? And then they're going to be so enthralled by what you're doing. Like, oh my God, we can do this. Let's all dance. Let's dance. And then everybody's going to be wanting to pick songs and scream and yell and chase each other around and dance. And I don't know what pulls me out of a funk more than that. And if it's just you, do it anyways. Obviously, like, if my husband was home, I wouldn't do it. I'm not dancing in front of him. But if it's just me and I turn on the music, or just going for a drive, guys. I don't know how many times that has made me feel alive. I read something the other day, like, because I love driving at dusk when it's starting to get dark and it's starting to cool down, and I can have my hand out the window and I'm doing this while I'm driving. And apparently it's a form of grounding, like with the air and the environment, and it's a way to calm yourself as well. So when in doubt, listen to music, go for a drive, go outside and go for a walk. Like, they will help you feel better on your worst days, I promise. So I hope you guys have a wonderful week. I'm super excited for season 2, starting on the 24th. Thank you all for being here. And hopefully I get better at being on time with my schedule. I know there's been a few times, especially during my pregnancy, when I just wasn't recording just because I felt so freaking terrible. But I'm back and I'm excited, and every day is just even better than the next. So I love you guys. I'll see you next week. Thank you so much for listening to the Pregnancy Loss Podcast. I hope you enjoyed the episode. I created a guide on 20 ways to celebrate your angel baby. It gives you 20 amazing ways to celebrate their birthdays or ways to just remember them on any given day. If you want to download it, head over to valenweb.com/resources and click the link. I hope you guys have a great week. See you next time.